You heard the bulia, you heard the song. You know who sang it. He's in the studio with me right now. So Dada, thank you very much for popping in. And you know what? It's really, really funny that you're here today. Shall I tell you? Because you'll remember,
yes,
right, my first ever interview was you.
Oh, how long ago was that? 20 years ago.
More than 20 years ago. We're talking... Yep.
It was 84, 85, something like that. 85, wasn't it?
No, 80... When did you release your first album?
84.
84?
Yeah.
Is it 80? Are you sure?
84 was Apna Sangeet, the bullion you played. Then 86 was Soho Tour India, Soho Road.
So when you released the first album, that's when I first interviewed you?
That was 84.
That was my very first interview I did for radio.
84.
And I came to...
28, 29, 30 years probably.
Holyhead School?
Holyhead School, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, yeah.
Because I caught a train to Birmingham.
Okay.
And from the train station I got a taxi. He dropped me right off at the school. And then I walked into the school.
Yeah.
And you guys were just getting ready as I turned up.
Yeah, yeah.
And the worst thing about it is, no one knew this, but I had a really bad hangover. My head was throbbing.
Okay.
Right, and they was like, you was keen to do the interview, and I was saying, look, we'll do it in a bit, don't worry, we'll do it. Let me just get a cup of coffee, get a cup of tea, and we'll do it. And then I actually stayed and watched them perform as well.
Okay.
So I stayed and I watched you perform, and then after you'd finished your performance, that's when I did the interview, and you was my very first. So it's kind of ironic that you're here today as sort of my last show. But thank you very much for coming in, of course. You're taking time out.
Last show that I
Baki up on Tonabali, yeah, you know.
Radio Derby.
We're still working on BBC Radio Derby, of course. You know, that's because all the you know. Well,
as a radio station, the ladies.
Well, this is it. You see, this is what a lot of people think that you know is Radio XL actually started. It wasn't, because it was the BBC Radio Derby. Yeah. That's where we launched. You know, the Ajkal show, and even today, you know, it's really nice because people write books about us now. Writers, they've written into book. They've written us into Bangla history. We've been on the BBC Asian Network for interviews about that show. We've done some television shows about our show. So it's absolutely fantastic. And of course, you guys know what it was all about. Because you was regulars on our show, wasn't you? Yeah, you did.
So we always used to go to the radio station.
Straight down the A38.
A38,
yeah. As many people have put, you know, it was the station. It was all happening there for all the sort of Bhangra artists, and that's where we really, I mean, we
got to know each other and still
got to know each other, and that's where we became friends. And I can remember, I think 1987, 80, when the first Pop Awards happened.
Yeah,
we was there together.
86, 87.
And then the second Pop Awards that happened, when you won the best band.
Yeah, yeah.
And we won the best radio station.
Yeah.
We had an awesome party afterwards.
We did.
Absolutely awesome party afterwards, and we've always met, celebrated, and I met a lot of your family as well. You know, I've got to say, I've got to mention your brother as well, because back in the day, when your brother used to own the pub.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So we used to come down to the pub as well sometimes after a Friday night, have a few games of darts, a pizza, have a few drinks and stuff like that. So, but thanks to your brother as well, Suki.
Yeah.
I'd like to thank him, and thank your son as well, who's become a really good friend of mine.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, you know,
that's nice to know.
He invited me to the wedding. Obviously, you invited me on Facebook and Twitter. See, Holly, and then I found out he was a Man United fan.
Yeah,
so that helped.
That's good.
So absolutely fantastic. But
best Poli family
yeah, and obviously I've been to your daughter's wedding and your son's wedding.
Yeah.
So I'd like to thank you for inviting us, having us there. You know, and ਸਾਨੂੰ ਵੀ ਆਪਣੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਦਾ ਫੈਮਿਲੀ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਸਾਡਾ ਵੀ ਹਿੱਸਾ
ਬਿਲਕੁਲ ਦੇਖੋ ਇਹ ਪਿਆਰ ਮੁਹੱਬਤ ਆ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਹਮੇਸ਼ਾ ਆਪਣੀ ਸਾਡੀ ਮਾਂ ਬੋਲੀ ਨੂੰ ਸਰੋਤਿਆਂ ਦੇ ਪਹੁੰਚਾਇਆ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਜੇ ਰੇਡੀਓ ਦੇ ਜ਼ਰੀਏ ਇਹ 뮤직 ਸੁਣਨ ਨੂੰ ਕਈਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਮਿਲਦੀ ਕਈਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਨਹੀਂ ਸੁਣਨ ਨੂੰ ਮਿਲਦੀ
That's true as well.
So ਕਈ ਆਪਣੇ ਕੰਮਾਂ ਕਾਰਾਂ ਚ ਇੰਨੇ ਬਿਜ਼ੀ ਆ ਸ਼ੌਪਾਂ ਚ ਬਿਜ਼ੀ ਆ ਹੁਣ ਭੈਣ ਜੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਟੈਲੀਫੋਨ ਕਰਕੇ ਹਟੇ ਆ
Yes.
So ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਨਹੀਂ ਮਿਸ ਕਰਨਾ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਇਸ ਚੀਜ਼ ਵਾਸਤੇ
Definitely. You know,
ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਉਹ ਸੈਟਰਡੇ ਦੀ ਇੰਤਜ਼ਾਰ ਕਰਦੇ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਪੋਲੀ ਆ ਰਿਹਾ ਸ਼ੋਅ ਤੇ ਤਾਂ ਨਾਲੇ ਉਹ ਆਪਣਾ ਕੰਮ ਕਰੀ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਤਾਂ ਨਾਲੇ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਗਾਣੇ
ਸੁਣਦੇ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਸੀ. So it is, and they keep saying to me that they're going to miss, but I've tried to explain that but how much I'm going to miss the listeners.
Miss ਦੋਨੇ ਪਾਸਿਆਂ ਜੀ.
I'm really going to miss the listeners. ਕਰਕੇ you know the thing is
ਇੱਕ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਰਿਲੇਸ਼ਨ ਬਣ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਹੈ ਲਿਸਨਰ ਤੇ ਪ੍ਰੈਜ਼ੈਂਟਰ
definitely
ਫੈਮਿਲੀ ਰਿਲੇਸ਼ਨ ਹੈ.
Definite. And all these years, you know, no matter what the weather is, rain, shine, sial hobe, summer hobe, they've always been there listening. Always been. And, you know, and I've always said, and I'll say it again, that without the listeners, I'm absolutely nothing.
You're right.
Absolutely nothing. Meri, you know, not even, you know, कीड़ा भी नहीं बन सकता सी without the listeners.
इन स्रोते बगैर ना तो कोई आर्टिस्ट कोई है,
Nope.
ना कोई प्रेजेंटर ही है.
That's right.
क्योंकि ਅਸੀਂ ਭਾਵੇਂ ਸਟੇਜ ਤੇ ਜੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਕੋਈ ਸੁਣਨ ਵਾਲੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਤਾਂ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਕੋਈ ਪੁੱਛੂ.
Exactly.
ਬਿਲਕੁਲ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਸਰੋਤਿਆਂ ਦੀ ਇਹ ਬਹੁਤ ਬੜੀ ਦੇਣ ਆ ਸਾਡੀ ਮਾਂ ਬੋਲੀ ਨੂੰ ਰੱਖ ਲਾ ਜਾਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਜੋ ਕਰਦੇ ਆ ਜੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਰਿਸਪੈਕਟ ਕਰਦੇ ਆ ਸਾਡੇ ਗਾਣਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਸੁਣਦੇ ਆ ਤਾਂ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਰਿਸਪੈਕਟ ਮਿਲਦੀ ਆ.
It is absolutely, you know, it's all down to the listeners make or break us, and that's how it is. And, you know, I can honestly say, you know, I'm so grateful to the listeners from here in Birmingham, Radio XL, also back in the day from the Ajkal show. They was awesome listeners, you know, they've sort of grown up with us, and a lot of them, you know, they've grown up with us, they've got married, their kids are now listening, and their kids are now listening as well.
That's the beauty, you know?
That's the beauty of it, and you're just thinking, no, it can't be possible.
ਦਿਲ ਚ ਸਕੂਨ ਮਿਲਦਾ ਕਈਆਂ ਦੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਵਿਆਹ ਕੀਤੇ ਗਾਹਾਂ ਸੀ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ
ਦੇ
ਵਿਆਹ
ਕੀਤੇ. That's right. And you get, you know, phone calls or invites and say, oh, you was at my wedding and now my son's getting married or my daughter, and you're thinking, wow, you know, is that, but time has just flown.
Time's flown, yeah.
You know, because next year it's going to be 30 years for me at BBC Derby, and you know, when I look at it, it's just like it's gone like that. 30 years.
Yeah, I was in San Francisco.
Yeah.
ਪਿਛਲੀ ਵੀਕੇ ਮੈਂ ਆਇਆ ਉੱਥੇ ਵਿਆਹ ਦੇ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਸੀ ਤੇ ਉੱਥੇ ਇੱਕ ਬੰਦਾ ਮਿਲਿਆ ਕਹਿੰਦਾ ਭਾਜੀ ਮੈਂ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਗੱਲ ਕਰਨੀ ਹੈ. ਮੈਂ ਕਿਹਾ ਜੀ ਕਰੋ. ਤਾਂ ਉਹ ਕਹਿੰਦਾ ਜੀ ਮੇਰਾ ਵਿਆਹ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕੀਤਾ 1981 ਵਿੱਚ.
See, there you go.
ਉਸ ਵੇਲੇ ਭਜੰਗੀ ਗਰੁੱਪ ਚ ਮੈਂ ਗਾਉਂਦਾ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਸੀ.
ਤਾਂ
ਉਹ ਕਹਿੰਦਾ ਜੀ ਬਟ ਸੋ ਇਦਾਂ ਦੀਆਂ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਜਾਂ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਲੋਕ ਦੱਸਦੇ ਆ you feel so good ਵੇ ਬੰਦੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਹਜੇ ਵੀ ਯਾਦ ਕਰਦੇ.
You do. And believe it or not, even though I've stopped DJing, I'm not on the circuit anymore. But you know that ਅੱਗੇ ਪਾਰਟੀਆਂ ਕੀਤੀ ਸੀ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਕਈ ਵਾਰੀ ਫੋਨ ਆ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਆ ਵੀ ਤੂੰ ਹਾਲੇ ਕਰਦਾ ਹੈ. And then I say to them, I don't do it on a big scale, but if you've got like a house party happening, or ਘਰ ਵਿੱਚ ਆਣ ਕੇ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਕਰ ਦਵਾਂਗੇ ਕਰਕੇ ਅੱਜਕੱਲ ਵੱਡੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਉਹ they have everything out there on ਉਹ ਲੈਟਾ ਉਹ ਪਿੱਛੇ ਤਾਂ ਬੰਦੇ ਦੱਸਦੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਪਏ ਕੌਣ ਕਰ ਰਿਹਾ.
ਨਹੀਂ ਪਰ ਗਾਣੇ ਤਾਂ ਉਹੀ ਲਾਉਣੇ ਆ.
ਲਾਉਣੇ ਤਾਂ ਉਹੀ
ਆ ਲੈਟਾ ਜਿੰਨੀ ਮਰਜ਼ੀ ਹੋਣ.
And I always say ਮੈਨੂੰ
ਜੇ ਕਿਸੇ ਨੇ ਭੰਗੜਾ ਪਾਉਣਾ ਤਾਂ ਗਾਣਿਆਂ ਤੇ ਪਾਉਣਾ.
2 ਸਪੀਕਰ ਹੋਣ ਤੇ ਮੇਰਾ ਹੁਣ all the systems here.
ਅੱਜਕੱਲ ਤਾਂ ਲੈਪਟਾਪ ਤੇ ਚੱਲਦਾ.
ਲੈਪਟਾਪ ਤੇ ਸਾਰਾ ਕੁਝ ਚੱਲਦਾ and I'm ready to go. That's all I need. I don't need any fancy lights. Don't need any ਇੱਕ ਕਰਕੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਗੀਤ ਉਦਾਂ ਦੇ ਲਾਉਣੇ ਪਏ ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਨੇ they're going to get up and dance. And a lot of them are still the old songs, believe it or not.
Oh yeah, dance ਤਾਂ ਦੇਖੋ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਭੰਗੜਾ ਗੀਤ ਉਹ ਤੇ ਡਾਂਸ ਹੋਣਾ. ਜੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਹੋ ਅੱਜ R&B ਆ ਜਾਂ ਰੈਪ ਰੂਪ ਆ ਜੋ ਵੀ ਹੈ ਠੀਕ ਹੈ ਉਹ ਸੁਣ ਲਈ ਠੀਕ ਹੈ ਪਰ ਭੰਗੜਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਪੈਂਦਾ.
No, you can't dance to it. That's the problem.
ਭੰਗੜਾ ਤਾਂ ਭੰਗੜੇ ਤੇ ਸਾਡਾ ਜੋ ਰੂਟ ਆ ਸਾਡਾ traditional ਹੈ ਉੱਤੇ ਪੈਣਾ.
And of course Apna Sangeet were the real exponents of that because
ਅਸੀਂ ਹਮੇਸ਼ਾ ਇਹ ਰੱਖਿਆ ਸੀਗਾ ਵੀ ਸਾਡਾ traditional ਜੋ ਵੀ ਸਾਡੇ ਗਾਣੇ ਵੀ ਹੋਰ ਪਰਿਵਾਰਕ ਤੌਰ ਤੇ ਹੋਣ.
Traditional, families can listen to them, but the most important thing is when you was live out there live, you as a band Apna Sangeet, the original, you know, the 6 of you,
the 6 of us, and the Satma
guitarist for Clive? John. He was part of the orchestra, wasn't he? Yeah, and he
played 12 saal sade down.
Yeah, and I can remember. I don't know if you remember. You remember the gig at Hammersmith Palais?
Hammersmith Palais. Yeah.
After you won the Pop Awards.
Yeah, we did.
And he did that riff of Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
And he had Dawn playing.
Yeah.
I'll never forget that. Because it was a total shock.
Us and Hira were playing that day.
That's right. At Hammersmith Palais.
Next day we were flying off to Canada.
We was DJing that gig. So we was there DJing and we was just expecting the usual Apna Sangeet set up with the stage there on that.
Totally different.
But it was.
The music is Billie Jean.
When he played the Billie Jean music, that was totally different. And then all of a sudden, you know, you heard the doll go into it as well. And you're thinking, wow, this is awesome. So
that was good,
had some absolutely awesome times with you guys.
Oh yes.
Tower Ballroom, Dome, Powerhouse.
Yeah.
The old Powerhouse gigs. All of those. It's been an epic journey.
It has.
And you know, all I can say.
You can still say the good old days.
Listen, I can't forget them. I can't forget them. You know, and I'm sure the people who have lived them, you won't forget them.
Yeah, no, never.
You know, when your grandchildren will sit with you, you'll probably be able to tell them stories about it.
ਉਸ ਟਾਈਮ ਵੀਡੀਓ ਤਾਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਬਣਦੀਆਂ ਪਰ ਫਿਰ ਵੀ ਕਈਆਂ ਨੇ ਬਣਾਈਆਂ ਆ. ਅੱਜ ਕੱਲ ਤਾਂ ਟੈਲੀਫੋਨਾਂ ਤੇ ਛੇਤੀ ਬਣਾ ਲੈਂਦੇ ਹੋ.
Exactly. Singing, that's right. But back in those days, no, it wasn't. There was no proper videos. But you know,
ਸਾਡੇ ਕਈ ਗਾਣੇ ਦੀ ਵੀਡੀਓ ਬਣੀ ਹੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਪਹਿਲੇ ਗਾਣੇ ਦੀ. ਆਪਣਾ ਸੰਗੀਤ ਦੀ ਬਣੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਸੀ.
But the thing is in them days, I mean, LP and cassette sales were awesome, wasn't they? Yeah, everyone went out and bought a cassette.
Yeah.
Well, you know, they sell 100 and they're number one.
Yeah.
And that's it. And you're thinking, well, hold on, what about back in the day when they used to... A bad album back in the day used to sell 10, 15,000 units.
Actually, Pauline, being number one, I don't think that's... ਸਾਡੀ ਥਿੰਕਿੰਗ ਆ ਵੀ ਮੇਰਾ ਗਾਣਾ ਨੰਬਰ 1 ਹੈ। ਅੱਜ ਕੱਲ ਤਾਂ ਨੰਬਰ 1 ਹੈ, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਗਾਣੇ ਨੂੰ ਮੁੜ ਕਿੰਨੀ ਵਾਰੀ ਮਰਜ਼ੀ ਖਰੀਦ ਲਓ ਨੰਬਰ 1 ਗੋਰਿਆਂ ਦੇ ਵੀ ਪੌਪ ਅਪ ਇਦਾਂ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਸੀਗੇ ਹਨਾ। ਇਹ ਨੰਬਰ ਗਾਣਾ ਉਹੀ ਨੰਬਰ 1 ਹੁੰਦਾ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਪਬਲਿਕ ਨੂੰ ਨੰਬਰ 1 ਲੱਗੇ।
That's what I always say is if it's the people's choice, if the people listen to it, they get up. And the test of it is, you know, when you play it at a party and the people get up and dance to it, then you know it's a good song. If people don't get up and dance to it,
then you know it's not.
It's not a good. That's a simple test. That's a simple test of.
number 1 and number 2.
That's right. See, and it's like we just played your bullion. Now you drop them at a party. I can guarantee people will get up and dance to them. Yeah, and people still appreciate all your old tunes. Yeah, and obviously it's Upland Sangeet were known for the bullion.
ਹਾਂਜੀ ਹਜੇ ਤਾਈਂ ਵੀ ਯਾਨੀ ਕਿ ਸਾਡੇ ਪੁਰਾਣੇ ਗਾਣੇ ਹਜੇ ਵੀ ਹੁਣ ਮੈਂ ਕਿਤੇ ਅਮਰੀਕਾ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਆਇਆ।
Yeah.
ਹਜੇ ਵੀ all the one listen is the old songs.
Old songs, all the old bullion you've done.
ਸੋਹੋ ਰੋਡ ਆਪਣਾ ਸੰਗੀਤ।
Yeah.
ਜਿਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਨੱਚ ਕੁੜੀਏ।
All of those. Yeah. And they are epic tunes. So these kind of tunes, you know, they will be evergreen. Yeah. They'll probably keep being played at parties again and again and again for many years to come yet. But thanks, Sardar.
No, wish you all the best. जो जिथे भी तू प्रोग्राम करूंगा सी उत्थे तेरे नाल। बिल्कुल ਤੁਸੀਂ ਰੇਡੀਓ ਸਟੇਸ਼ਨ ਨੂੰ ਐਕਸਲ ਤੇ ਵੀ ਬਹੁਤ ਕੀਤਾ ਵਾ, ਅੱਜ ਕੱਲ ਤੇ ਵੀ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਦੀ ਸੇਵਾ ਬਹੁਤ ਕੀਤੀ ਆ। ਸੋ ਇਸ ਕਰਕੇ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਟੈਲੀਫੋਨ ਨੇ ਆ ਰਹੇ ਆ, ਅਪਰੀਸ਼ੀਏਟ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਆ। ਸੋ ਮੈਂ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਬਹੁਤ ਥੈਂਕ ਯੂ ਕਰਦਾ।
No, thank you very much, you know, for taking time out. And I know you.
ਸਾਹਿਬ ਜੀ ਵੀ ਆਦੀ ਮੈਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਵੀ ਬਹੁਤ ਥੈਂਕ ਯੂ ਕਰਦਾ। ਸਾਡੇ ਬੜੇ ਭਾਈ।
But yeah, honestly, I've always said for Minu, I mean, I've been broadcasting now 29 years. Kadi Miliani. Yeah.
ਅੱਛਾ।
Kadi नहीं मिलिया, can you believe it?
ਦੇਖੋ ਅੱਜ ਆਏ
ਤੇ ਅੱਜ ਮੇਰੇ ਆਖਰੀ ਸ਼ੋਅ ਤੇ ਅੱਜ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਮਿਲਣ ਲੱਗੇ, ਆਪੇ ਆ ਗਏ ਦੇ ਲੋ।
ਨਹੀਂ ਹੀ ਸਰ ਵਨ ਆਫ ਦਾ ਇੱਥੇ ਦਾ ਸਭ ਤੋਂ ਅੱਛੇ ਰਾਈਟਰ ਨੇ ਔਰ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਬਹੁਤ ਹੀ ਅੱਛੇ ਗੀਤ ਲਿਖੇ। ਮੈਂ ਵੀ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਕਾਫੀ ਗੀਤ ਰਿਕਾਰਡ ਕੀਤੇ।
Yeah.
So he's a great artist.
No, absolutely fantastic. And I did want to really, I mean, I met Wolverhampton Gassi on the Gurdas Man show. And I was hoping he was going to come there. But also I had a word with his son. He says, oh, he's not feeling very well, so he's not going to come. So I said, never mind. I goes, for your sake. And I goes, if it worst comes to worst, I'll come to Wolverhampton one day. And he wrote a few lines for me as well, which is... Really took
and
my
he's
heart.
the only one who can do that.
You know,
ਸਹੀ ਗੱਲ ਹੈ। ਉਹਨੇ ਕਿਸੇ ਵੀ ਕੋਈ ਸਪੈਸ਼ਲ ਫੰਕਸ਼ਨ ਕਿਸੇ ਦਾ ਵੀ ਹੋਵੇ ਹੈ ਨਾ, ਉਹ ਹਮੇਸ਼ਾ ਉਸ ਫੰਕਸ਼ਨ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਕੁਛ ਨਾ ਕੁਛ ਲਿਖ ਕੇ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਨੇ।
That's absolutely.
And ਉਹ ਇੱਕ ਯਾਦਗਾਰ ਰਹਿ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਹੈ।
It's absolutely brilliant, honestly. I'm so thankful to him for coming in, and of course thanks to yourself,
No problem, sir.
And of course we'll keep in touch anyway.
Yeah.
I'm still following you. Don't worry, on Facebook, on Twitter, wherever you are. So up on Melody, and don't forget we're still at BBC Derby.
Yeah.
So
ਕੋਈ ਗੱਲ ਨਹੀਂ, ਅਸੀਂ ਗਾਣਾ ਕੱਢ ਕੇ ਉੱਥੇ ਆਵਾਂਗੇ।
You can come pop down there anytime you want and pop down and see us. So that's chatting there with Sardar Agil. Thank you very much, of course, to him, and I'd like to wish him all the best to him and all of his family, of course, who you know, his brothers, his children.
Shall I say a few lines?
If you yes. Oh, you got a few.
नहीं वैसे ही आता गुरदास मान ਦੀਆਂ ਲਾਈਨਾਂ ਆ, ਮੇਰੀਆਂ ਲਾਈਨਾਂ ਨਹੀਂ।
Okay.
ਮੈਂ ਉਹ ਦੋ ਲਾਈਨਾਂ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਸਾਹਮਣੇ ਪੇਸ਼ ਕਰਦਾ। ਅਸੀਂ ਤੇਰੇ ਸ਼ਹਿਰ ਨੂੰ ਸਲਾਮ ਕਰ ਚੱਲੇ ਆ, ਦੋਸਤਾਂ ਦੀ ਦੋਸਤੀ ਦੇ ਨਾਮ ਕਰ ਚੱਲੇ ਆ, ਅਸੀਂ ਤੇਰੇ ਸ਼ਹਿਰ ਨੂੰ। So Poli, thank you.
Thank you very much indeed. That's absolutely awesome. Time for you on XL, 26 minutes after midday, 12:26 in the afternoon.